Now, this week on our segment on Understanding Devolution, we continue to discuss issues surrounding transition in Kenya's new governance dispensation. My guests tonight in studio, Kipchumba Murkomen. He's been with us previously. He's the chairman on the Committee on Devolution, also Elgeyo Marakwet Senator. Also with us tonight, Dr. Alfred Mutua, Governor Machakos County, and Peter Nthiga, a lecturer and consultant and a devolution expert who has been a key resource person in training councillors and aspiring members of the National Assembly on devolution at JKU. Gentlemen, you're welcome. Thank you for finding time tonight. Murkomen, I'll begin with you. The Equalization Fund, which through the Commission on Revenue Allocation was used to disperse monies to marginalized communities. What criteria was used? A lot of our viewers are writing in and saying, wait a minute, we believe our particular area is marginalized as well. So what criteria was used?
Well, I question the same issue because, as you may know, I mean, Elgeyo Marakwet County, we consider ourselves, some parts of the county are really marginalized. And when I inquired, I was told that, you know, they were looking at poverty index, potential of a particular county to generate revenue, among other things. But what I question fundamentally, the legal question I have is Article 204 talks about the Equalization Fund is meant to bring up to speed areas that have been marginalized for a long time, so it can look like other areas that have been developed in matters of water, housing, infrastructure, among others. Now, this is not counties, it is areas. So the fact that CRA decided that they were going to allocate to counties, because an area means that you can have all counties doing well or fairly well, but there are a particular area of that county that is marginalized. So for me, it should have been better to hive some parts of the county and identify as you know, areas that require marginal equalization fund, so that we can bring up to speed to look like the rest part of the country. And so really I have concern legally as to why that decision was made to be allocated to a whole county.
Of course, and as Senator of Elgeyo Marakwet, some viewers writing in here saying they needed a bit of that equalization fund directed towards them. Dr. Mutua, let's talk about you and Machakos County. Congratulations. Indeed, I believe we haven't met since your election, but let's begin with Machakos County on your part, and let's look at pressing areas of concern which are a priority to you as regards addressing those particular issues.
I think the first thing that we need to realize is that Kenyans are very poor. It's not just Elgeyo Marakwet or Machakos. The rate of poverty in our country is quite high. You know, when I was campaigning, I went around and you find people, and we know stories of people going to buy salt with a spoon, people going to buy toothpaste with a toothbrush, nieke toothpaste ya shilingi 10. So when you talk about all this equalization fund, we have to realize that the whole country is very poor. In Machakos, where I come from, we suffer from the normal poverty of lack of basics. We're looking at water, lack of infrastructure, proper food security, lack of employment. So the same problems that are plaguing many places. But what matters are not the problems. We are all suffering. What counts is what are we doing about it? Have we started working on it? Are we just talking about it? Because we've been talking for many years. It's time people started seeing results.
Of course, you're the first governor to constitute your county cabinet. Obviously, your sleeves are rolled up. But have you done an audit of the resources that you have around as yet?
We've always known what we have around, and we've looked around at what we have, and we've tried to put it all together and see how we can maximize. First of all, we are coming from a position where we are crawling. We need to stop crawling and to start walking so that we can start running. But to be able to do that, we have to move with speed. We have to move with efficiency, and we have to move with a plan, and we already have a plan. So even before I started campaigning, I already had a very clear mind and clear idea of where we were going. But when I went around, I listened to the people, because this is now a government of the people, and we listen to the people, and you listen to what the people want you to do for them. It's not about what I want, it's also about what the people want. And I think that is what is going to help Machakos.
Professor Nthiga, let's talk to you regarding transition. Of course, many Kenyans not aware that the transition process began way before the elections and is still ongoing. Let's talk about where we are as of now. Of course, we have Elgeyo Marakwet represented here. We have Machakos represented here, but the whole of Kenya is watching, and we need to talk in terms of representing all the constituencies in this country. Let's talk about where we are as regards transition. Are we on the right phase?
Yes, thank you, Ridian. We are on the right phase because transition basically means shifting from the old regime of governance to the new regime of governance. And as you have rightly said, transition started way before March 4th. Actually, the transition period started officially on 9th of March 2012, when we constituted the Transition Authority. And then a lot of work has been done all along. And from March 4th, when Kenyans went to the ballot, come morning of March 5th, we entered the second phase of transition, whereby the functions and the responsibilities of devolved levels of government have been identified. Actually, it was last week or this week when Transition Authority came up with a list of those functions that are ready for devolution, and governance, Alfred being one of them, and many others, were advised to pick those items and go and implement in their counties. So yes, in terms of transition, we are right on track. And the beauty with transition is it's running up to the 3 years from March 4th. So those issues that are not properly polished, we have a couple of them. In fact, there is a whole need of civic education because of those issues. The beauty is what is not in line with most of us will be polished along until in the third year, then we are all at home, happy and functioning. Yes.
No, I totally agree with Dr. here, but you see, some people are sleeping hungry. Some people are wondering what the future holds. I went around Machakos and young people are turning into goats. All they do is chew miraa every day because they don't have jobs. They are well educated, they have energy to work, but the economy has not provided them jobs.
Which brings me to the question, Dr. What are you doing about addressing the perennial food shortage, the perennial water shortage in Machakos County? You know, residents there really getting used to handouts and donations from donors. But what are you doing to empower the community to ensure that this is not the case come 5 years, and not even 5 years, because in transition we are hoping in the soonest time possible?
Actually, that's what I'm complaining about, because the transition period, this idea of just taking time, you've got 3 years. We don't have 3 years.
We don't have that.
People who are hungry don't want to wait for 3 years until everything has been sorted out. Let's look at Machakos, for example. Our biggest problem has been water. I've decided to fight water, and I've decided to have a plan. First here is to harvest water by buying tractors and all these excavators to dig dams, dig boreholes, and harvest as much water. Second year is reticulation. Get the water to the people so that our mothers don't have to walk many kilometers. So once you provide water, and I want everybody in Machakos to have a shower, by the way, because Americans had showers 100 years ago, and we can do it.
That would be
yes,
wonderful.
we can. No, it's not wonderful. It's
yes,
not,
we can.
And we're going to do it. And apart from water, now we have what to solve health and other problems. Now, in terms of food, Malawi is a poorer country than Kenya economically. That's what they tell us. But look at what Malawi has been able to do. Malawi can today feed Africa,
and I hope
because of something called a subsidy system.
Right.
That's what I'm introducing in Machakos. We're providing subsidized seeds, fertilizer, and free tractors, so that we can actually cultivate as much land as possible, so that whenever it rains, we get a big bumper harvest. Today we only cultivating 20% of arable land in Machakos. If we push that to 60 or to 80%, we'll have enough food to feed not only Machakos, but the whole of Kenya.
And before I go to Murkomen, I hope that you're able to speak the language of Nduko, because now we're not talking about Wanjiko, we're talking about Nduko, Mwekali, Mwende. I hope that they can understand what plans that it is that you have for them. Congratulations on being elected chair of the Devolved Government Committee. And we're talking, this is a national issue. As the chair of the committee, what are the priority issues? You've had what Dr. there has said, you've had what Prof there has said with regards to transition, but what are the plans that are underway in your committee, looking at a national outlook, of course?
Now, our chief responsibility is to ensure that devolution works. So the first thing is to ensure that transition process is being observed and we are on track. But particularly the question of finances. There's something which was cooking last week. which came into our desk, and I really thank Commission Revenue Allocation, because they are really firmly fighting for proper allocation to the counties. If you remember, Parliament passed the formula, which is a Senate formula. At that time, they sat as Senate and passed the formula that if we were to divide the resources at that point, we would give counties 252 billion. In recent estimates, the Treasury cut it to 198. But that was not enough. They refused to obey the formula, and then you remove, for example, I give an example of Bomet County. They were supposed to get 4.3 billion. They were given 2.8. I can't remember the one for Machakos, but I remember many counties lost 2, 3 billion, half a billion, all that kind of thing. And we think that, of course, the Deputy President today in one of the forums where I was said that they have sorted it out internally between them and the Treasury. But we are looking forward next week. If it happens that that formula, if the resources are not allocated within that formula, my committee is meeting on Monday. We will want to follow the process to ensure that the counties are able to get the resources. That's the first thing. Two is what we discussed last week, costing the functions and ensuring that counties, we don't waste time when it comes to social function. That's what the governor is talking about.
I'm with that a lot.
No, because without money, there's no devolution.
Yeah,
it's a big joke,
So
they're doing the right thing,
The counties are being told that, you have to wait for 3 years to get all your functions, you're not ready. But the process of negotiating which county is ready and which is not supposed to be unilateral by Transitional Authority. Transitional Authority actually is an agent of the Senate from now onwards. So what they should be doing is that when they tell a county you have capacity, you don't have, it should be a process of negotiation. You must have sat down with the leadership of that county to look at their capacity. Some counties have the capacity to take all the functions once, so you don't have to wait for 3 years. Those counties that are unable to get their functions within immediately, the resources for that county should first be set aside, then it be used, even if we're using the structure of national government, but with the knowledge of county government as to which resources are being put there. So we have a lot of work to do to ensure that the counties work, and I believe that our responsibility, really, the governors, you must have seen in the news, they are making a lot of noise. But now they should relax and know that
the governors are making a lot of noise, and I don't see you.
No, as a matter of fact, it's true. They have made noise about whether resources have been allocated or whether things are being done right. Now they don't need to worry much because they have their guardian angel, the Senate, to do that job. Every governor just needs to pick their call the senator, or come to the Senate devolved committee. Through the committee, will be able to take these things to the floor of the House.
And I'll be addressing some questions coming in for you, Dr. shortly. But Professor Nthiga, let's talk about how the constituents can get involved, in the use and management of the monies that are being allocated to the particular counties. Of course, a lot of people, I'm sure, would be looking at the faces of the counties, such as the governors, and saying, wait a minute, how do we control the finances, or rather the revenue that is coming in to our particular county, and the county that the revenue that our county is producing?
Thank you. Public participation in the new governance dispensation is not something to negotiate about. It is there anchored in the Constitution that most of the functions that we do, we must involve the public. And I want to congratulate my friends here who are in elective posts and in governance ship like Alfred, that what will make the difference going forward is how a county gets its functions and responsibility and runs away with it. So there is no issue of waiting upon each other so that we all start together. I like what Machakos is doing and other counties, that they took their functions and ran away with them. But as we do our functions and responsibilities, we must involve the public. For example, all the counties have recently brought up their budgets. It is a consultative process, and I believe most of them consulted their citizens in their counties. Number two, there must be a serious look at the civic education in terms of what the public expects from our new governors and senators and county assembly members, etc. Therefore, civic education is key. And I've walked around the country doing civic education and capacity building, and I want to confess that there is a gap.
There's a gap. That's right, and that's the same issue we're discussing here with Murkomen 2 weeks ago. Dr.
Yes.
Any plans to entice investors, so to speak, in the near future? What plans do you have? And a message just to the people of Machakos County as we wind up. You're the one, you cannot set a precedent that will leave tongues wagging rather once your tenure is over. Hopefully
yes.
they will elect you back. But this, I mean, the onus is on you really to deliver to the people of Machakos
And
County.
we will deliver to people of Machakos because we are servants now. We are not going there as people who are masters, but several things. We've realized that the money that is being allocated, the money that they are fighting to make sure that it's given to us properly, is not enough. So we have to think outside the box and be innovative. Machakos, for example, is going to hold on just next week, but on May 16 to 18, we're going to hold the first Machakos Investors Conference. We want investors to come locally and internationally, talk about real estate, tourism, all sectors. We're even going to talk about filmmaking. We're going to have our own Machahud, we are calling it, make movies in Machakos. We want to bring investors to come and discuss how they're going to invest and look at resources that we have. We want to use land, for example, to provide free land to investors so they can build homes, because we want Machakos to actually be the dormitory or the bedroom of Nairobi, of Konza, when it
I
develops.
wanted to bring in Konza,
Yes,
saying
and
that
we want to
Machakos
build
is
a
actually
new
bounty,
yes.
seeing that it borders.
It's right there, and it's only a few kilometers. So we want people to work in Konza, but to live in Machakos as they build up, because we want Machakos to grow. We're going to build a new city in Machakos, give it a new breath of fresh air, so we can provide employment. But the key thing is to bring manufacturers, industrialists, so that we can have industries all over Machakos, so they can employ our young men and women, so that we can actually grow the economy. So that's our plan, as we do all the other things, provide ambulances, security. I was joking to somebody the other day and saying that we want to buy vehicles. We're buying vehicles for the police to supplement what they get in the national budget. And we're going to have CCTVs. Why? Because we want Machakos to be so safe that people can come and do business. We want Machakos to be so safe that the hardcore criminals actually bring their families to live in Machakos.
Right.
Because it is safe. So that we can actually grow the economy and let people know that you're not born to suffer.
Right.
You don't have to grow up in suffering. You can actually depend on each other, hold hands, and move with your government that is not corrupt.
Right. Your parting words, Murkomen, as we finish.
Basically, I like what the governor is talking about, and I hope that this then can be translated to a master plan, which we talked about last week. We have every county having its own master plan, so that then even some of the things that may not be achieved within 10 years can, the leadership of that particular period can be able to lay the foundation. And which brings me to a very important issue here, that which my brother talked about, the civic education. People need to understand, sometimes, and let me answer this here. I get all these questions on social media. Oh, we met the governor yesterday going to which area he was going to inspect this. Where were you? You should have been there. People need to appreciate that when the governor is on the ground working, the senator is also in Nairobi working. It's a unity. In fact, when you talk about these investments, most of us who are in Nairobi and our counties are far, the investors usually talk to us, and you have to call your governor and tell them, I met this investor, can you think about this idea? So that unity of leadership within a county is very crucial if we have to carry the leadership of this country forward.
And I like that you always part with unity. That has been the precedent that Murkomen has set here in our studios. He always parts with unity. Thank you for that. And to you, sir, your parting shot on this.
One, as much as we are waiting for the national government to allocate the funds, because their budgets, all the counties are way above what the allocation might be after it has been debated. It is going to involve the public by sensitizing them on other means of generating their own revenue. I know we don't have time to push this further, but I'm sure we'll do it in other sessions. One, there are a couple of other streams that counties can generate their own revenue to supplement the national allocation that they get. So things like social services, things like registration of births and deaths, etc., commercial undertaking, commercial farming, all those, the citizens of this country must be trained on how to invest in those areas. The governors must allocate money that can support those initiatives. The senators must, with their friends in the county assembly, must see how policies are done to support those other streams.
Right.
So my key one and parting shot is Kenyan out there should look out to their governor and the senator and the county assembly members on how the policies are being done to help them generate revenue on other means.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you have a second? I just want to share something. It's about corruption. And
somebody actually asking about Mavoko Municipal Council and saying that there's a lot of corruption.
There's corruption everywhere. You know,
Everywhere.
this country, you know, I'll give you an example of what county governments are going to do for our people. In Mutua, which is got a municipal, in Mutua we're collecting 10,000 shillings a day when I became governor a few months ago. And we looked at it and we asked, these people cannot pay their salaries. I sent a team. When the team arrived, the following day we were collecting 60,000, 80,000. I sent a bigger team. They collected 300,000, 400,000. Now we are collecting 600 to 800,000 shillings a day. Imagine, all that money was going into the pockets of people. So corruption is something that we will have to deal with as governors and all those things. So in Machakos, I'm hiring a firm to actually do a proper audit so that we can make the decisions properly, so that we can actually join hands with the people and move forward.
And so far, your relationship with your senator, I believe.
No, you know, I don't have a problem with, you know, the good thing about me is that it's not about me. It's not about you, it's not about anybody. It's about that poor villager, that poor child who is sleeping hungry. It's about those people. And those are the ones we need to actually assist. We hold hands together as one group and we move together. Whoever doesn't want to come with us, we will continue, because it's about serving the people of God.
Did you sort out the issue with the issue with the transition authority and the inadequate space, the issue with the allocation of offices that you just felt that was not enough space for your offices?
No, it wasn't about enough space for my offices. It's because they didn't give anybody else. They had a room for me, but nothing for my deputy. They didn't have a car for my deputy. I lined up. So what I decided to do is give my office to my deputy, give my car to my deputy. You take care of your people first, because you can always come last, and you sort yourself out later.
And as we wind up, let me just read out some of the messages that are coming in. We're proud of our Governor, Dr. Alfred, and the issue of investors' subsidy. Elijah Kili in Kanyango. Kipchumba Murkomen, somebody saying, congratulations, you have done us proud by chairing that committee. And somebody saying, thank you to you, sir, for your views on devolution, indeed saying that this information is very much needed. Gentlemen, I wish we had more time to discuss these issues, but I do hope that I will manage to host you in studio in the near future to discuss some more.
And I welcome you to Machakos.
Thank you.
Lillian, May 16 to 18, it is home for you.
May 16th to 18th is the
Investors Conference
in Machakos.
Come to Machakos. Yeah.
Okay, so investors from far and wide invited to
Machakosgovernment.com. You can log in, machakosgovernment.com, and register and come. And let's do business together.
So log in to machakosgovernment.com and get some more information on the Investors Conference that will be held from the 16th to the 18th of May. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time tonight. Well, let's take a short break now. We'll be right back with the Day Sports.